Now, this is Sonya again, and I'm back to show you how to do this little centre. I am hoping that I can do this before my battery goes flat on my camera, because I didn't realise that I hadn't charged it. Now, this is what they look like, because it was a bit better than that until Sonya accidentally cut that piece of sequence off the underneath piece there. But we won't worry about that in a minute. Now, I did this one without the inside bit, but I can actually stick something on there if I wanted to, but I wanted just to see what it was like. Now, so I'm going to show you how to make those. They're quite easy. I was trying to make some this morning with a smaller sequence, and it was just not happening for me quick enough because the day is getting away on me. So you have to have your set amount of beads, but I'm sure if you can't find the bigger sequences, if I show you how to do this, then you can sit down and work out what your set amount of beads are. Now, you'll need, well, you buy a packet of sequins, of course, because I don't know, probably 12 or something. I don't know, 2, 4, 6, 8. You need 12, and you need little beads. Okay, now the little seed beads are good. Like these little ones here are not actually a seed bead, they're a bit bigger than a seed bead. They're a little round one. If you get the tiny, tiny ones, it won't lift it up as much if they're too little like that. I hope you can see these. So if you get something that's got a bit of size to it, see that one's still too small too. Yeah, so, but this is a good size, this little one here. And they're not very dear. I mean, the sequins and the things are not going to cost you hardly anything. Now, in reality, we want to use a lot of cases people would like a bead needle, I'd imagine, because they are a very thin thing. The only thing wrong with that is it's very hard to thread. If you can see that. I had a packet here somewhere that I got it out of. What did I do with the packet? Well, bless me soul, I could have sworn I left that sitting there, so I could have showed you the packet. Don't tell me I got efficient and put it away. I don't know about that. I haven't been doing those sort of things. They're putting things up where... Oh, here it is underneath this. I sat that on top of it. In these packets here, like this packet here came with actual bead needle, and then it's got a straw needle which is way too big, and then it's got these tiny little ones which are not bad, but they've got a tiny little hole. Most places will probably sell you something like this, which is really not bad, because in here... doesn't actually say bead needle, it says sewing needle, but in there is, I'll just cut that bit off and lose all, there'll be something that'll probably be, and now that must be as old as me, because it's got all a bit of rust on it, so that's no good to me, but I want to just show you the hole in them, and that's not really that big. So what did I get? I must have took that out of a different one. Let me see. Oh dear. Anyway, see if you can find something that's fairly... It's a hole that you can see. Now, the idea is that you're going to have to, of course, have the needle go through the hole of the sequence and the bead. Alright, if they fit through there, that's really good. These little ones are fantastic. Okay? Because your needle determines, you know, whether you're going to get angry if you get halfway through it and it won't go through. But anyway, you shouldn't get angry. It's not good for us. So anyhow, now we'll do this. There's a lot of other things to learn about needles. I mean, you might think they're just basic, but there's lots of things that you should know about a needle. Actually, here's the one that I'm using now, and it's only small. It's not very thick through, and it's got a good eye in the end of it. Okay, so that would be considered a sewing needle, not actually a bead needle, but it's very thin. You do not want to get something that's got a really big body on it like that. Can you see the difference in the size? That you don't want anything like that, because it's not going to work for you. Might go through some things some of the time, but they won't keep going for you. Now, thread, you can use just your ordinary sewing thread, and I'm going to put a knot in the end of it. Now, I've got a hoop here that I've put this in because I wanted to show you how to do it and be easier for you to see what I'm doing if I've got this out here in front of me instead of all in my hands. Now, you can do it yourself in one of these because these are not very dear to buy. The smaller the better. I would have liked to have got one of my smaller ones and put it in here, but for all my cleaning up and that, I don't think I marked which box I put them in, and and I can't see it at the moment, so I thought I'd just do this anyway and show you. Righto, so now I put in a piece of very fine fabric, you know, something you can see through. You can see that through there. So I put that on there. Just come up through the bottom. Do not pull your thread of your cotton all the way through. Now we've got to start from the beginning. You can't start there, Sonia, because you've got to show where we start with this bit. Goodness me. Anyway, so I've got those little lines there, but I'm going to show you what we do to get the little lines. So you want a spot to start with for your centre. Just use the pencil. Now you can go out a centimetre either side of that spot, put a line across there. Okay, go back to your spot, turn it sort of on a angle. Doesn't matter, you don't want to be too, you don't have to worry about being too exact about going across the centre of the spot again, like so. Now this is, now I'm telling you now, this is my thing. If anybody says that you're doing this funny, well, it's only something I've sort of figured out. That's how I do it myself. I don't know how it's actually done, but this is the way I'm going to do it, okay? It worked for me. Now, for the idea of this, I started on the outside, okay? I started on the outside, and I'm just going to do a back stitch. Yes, because I'll cut that knot off, you know, the old knot there. Now, we start on the outside, so we'll put one sequence and one bead, right? One sequence. This is for this size, and 2 beads, and I'd imagine that these sequences are 1, 2, 3. They're about 6 or 7 millimeters. Okay. So now you've got one sequence, one bead, one sequence, 3 beads. Okay. And then you put the needle into the centre there. Right. Now you can go across the other side, come up there. I'm going to do a back stitch because I wanted this to be reasonably tight without. So we got one bead. Oh, that's a sequence. This is a bead, a sequence, oops, sequence, and 3 beads. This is for this size sequence and for this size, like the, what do I do, 1 centimetre or 2 centimetres or 1 inch wide it is, the width of the thing. This is what size, and the beads are this size for the amount that you thread on. Now, I say that because you need it to come up on, so it's not flat. It's not flat on you. You need it to lift up, so it's got a dimension to it. So now we'll go this over here, and we'll do the same thing again. Okay, so there's a bead. My hands are really dry today, and they keep getting caught on everything. And one sequence, 1 bead, 1 sequence, and 3 beads. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And you go back to the centre again. Now my finger just got caught on that too, now my hand. Oh dear. Okay, now back here again. 1 sequence, 1 bead, 1 sequence. And I've got this on felt today because it's easier, but sometimes I get my needle caught on and that doesn't impress me at all. I'm just picking up 3 beads if I'm not in the camera shot. I hope I am. So that's 1 sequence, 1 bead, 1 sequence and 3 beads. Excuse me. And Sonya went the wrong way. Look at that. So that's what happens if you go the wrong way, right? If you start from the middle and go out to the sides, you get that up. Okay. Right, I'll just take that off. I was too busy talking or paying attention to what I was doing, wasn't I? Worrying about my hands being... We just pull them off, preferably without unthreading the needle so we don't have to do that again. Push them off there. Okay, now, this isn't long enough to... We'll go back through there and we'll start out at the end this time, Sonia. I know I did one earlier, a while ago, and I didn't like the way that it really looked. I thought it sat better if you started from the outside. So now we'll go again. One bead, and that's a sequence. This is a bead, this is a sequence, and 3 beads. The beads are not glass, they are acrylic. That doesn't matter. They have a nice little shine to them and they look pretty. They look pretty. There we go, 3 of those. And back to the centre, and I hope this is not taking too long to show you because, there we go. Now we go back on the outside. Now you might think this looks a little bit spread out here, but we have the idea coming along to show you how to fix that a bit. Push it more in. 3 of those. So that's 1. And as you go around and fill it up anyway, it'll it'll come in. Now if you were doing this with a smaller sequence, sorry, you'd need more of these rows. 6 would not be enough to make a circle. Oh well, you'd probably make a smaller one with the tiny things, but I don't know, I didn't feel like doing the tiny ones today. It'd take me forever. See, this is not going to be too long to make. Okay, so now you've got that on there, and that goes back to the centre. And you've got, I'm going to go onto the back here, and really, now, if you haven't done this before, and you really would like to try a bit of beading and this sort of thing, go and buy yourself a hoop. It's only a few dollars, worth it, because once you start to use it, it'll be just the best thing, because your work will be a lot neater and a lot straighter. Make sure that it's really tight, like, you know, when you put it in there. Now, that's that bit, and I did do a couple of back stitches, so I'm going to put a centre in this one like I did on the one that I actually cut his little bit off. So I'm going to come up through the middle of there, and for the centre piece I have some of these. I've got some little flat silver ones, but I have these other fancy looking things that I thought maybe I might stick one of those in there and put a gold bead in the centre of this one. I don't even think about that, eh? A little gold bead in there, or you could put a, maybe that wouldn't look right. Wait a minute, we'll sit him in there and see. No, definitely not. What about that? That's pretty. Yes, that's pretty. Sorry. Alrighty. Now we go back through. We go through the bead, go back through this cap here, bead cap, and go back into the bottom. Right. Now, if you can, try and come up and do that again, because come back through the bead cap, but not go through the bead cap, through the bead. We want to try and tie it down as tight as we can get it. That's what I'm trying to achieve here. Okay, come up through there. Now, push him back down. There you go. No, I don't. Now we'll end that off. Okay. Lots of little tiny stitches. Cut it off. Get one of these white things. A white thing. A circle. I've got a 1-inch punch there that I made the circle out of. Preferably do a light colour one. Right. Now when you put that on there, just put it in the centre of it. Get your scissors, attack it from around here like so. We're doing this because we don't want the glue to dry just too fast for the time being. We make sure everything's sitting properly. Now, you can go and you can give it a little tweak. Just give it a little set in there, just to give it a little push. Don't tell me I cut the edge off that sequence. I'm a wild thing when it comes to that, aren't I? Look at that, I did too. That'll teach me going flat out. Please don't cut the end off yours, it won't work. Look, it won't. Okay, now I'm going to take all this material off, but not where I've sewn. Don't cut your sewing. Do not cut your sewing off. Now you can glue it. I can go back here and I can cut in without cutting the sequence. I can even take a bit of the card off if I want to. Because that's what I did with the other one in between the sequences. I took the card off. Now, I don't know whether you can actually buy... You can buy these... I'm going to turn that round so you can't see that he's cut off, eh? And I'm going to stick him down with my glue. There we go. You won't be able to see where I did that silly thing. Look, there you go. That looks really cool, don't you reckon? And you can go and cut. I did buy some many years ago that I had here, but I don't know if you can still get it. I suppose you can. I don't know what it costs or anything like that. Buy the trim. But if you're only looking for now, I've got glue stuck to my hand. I'm not going to fight with that because I've got glue stuck to my fingers and I'm going to get it all over the place and I'm going to make a mess of everything, aren't I? So I'm going to wait until it dries and then I'm going to fix it up to a nice little nest. I told you it was going to take off. Ah dear. But anyway, so that's what I come up with. So I'm not really... I like it on there, but not as much as I think it'd look better on a white one, on a white flower. I just didn't get around to making that yet. But anyway, so that's how you do the sequences. Make the flowers with the sequence, okay? So there you go. I'll come back after and I'll show you about something else. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.